The Code podcast. My name is Stuart Daly. I'm an actor, producer, and filmmaker. And really, why I started this podcast was to give you some more tools on how to get some universe hacks and how to become famous, wealthy, successful. I can talk about in future episodes how I've done elements of this in my own life. I'm not a finished article, but for myself right now, I've just released probably my biggest film yet, which was directed by James McAvoy. And of course he acts in it. So that came out in cinemas last week. So as a filmmaker, producer, writer, actor, I'm always looking for something that gives me the edge, for release dates, for all this blood, sweat and tears put into this art, into this film. And you need to find, as they say, timing is everything. There's so much noise out there in the world, especially when with technology, with Spotify, with YouTube. Everyone is a filmmaker, everyone is a musician or a singer. So it's really finding these tools have helped me a lot in basically magnetizing a degree of virality or success as well in your own lives. It's all a perspective thing as well. So for some people who are watching this, they might be saying, it's a bunch of woo-woo, gematria, numerology, astrology. Well, all I'll say is look to people like JP Morgan, not the most positive guy in the world, but very, very influential and wealthy. He used to say, millionaires don't use astrology, but billionaires do. And second to that, one of my favorites, Nikola Tesla, not Tesla, Nikola Tesla, the inventor, futurist, one of the greatest machinists of all time, used to say, think in terms, if you want to know the secret of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Now that has a specific code. So without harping on and on, let's go straight into it. Let's talk about some massive names in the film industry to start. So we'll talk predominantly around directors and maybe a few A-list actors as well. And you can utilize this and reverse engineer it for your own life path, for your own gematria, your name of and gematria code as well. So let's start with film. Film was created, I guess, the first motion of the horse, the first moving images, I believe it was 1878. Need to double check, but that was, I do know, it's Year of the Tiger. So we have a horse that's moving by Edward Muybridge, I believe his name was, this photographer who created these moving images of the horse running on a track, the horse in motion, which is the name. So we have the horse archetype, right, the freedom, the stallion, and then we have the Chinese astrology year, which was the Year of the Tiger. So let's start with none other than Leo Dicaprio. Like attracts like. Leo, obviously being the name, kind of a feline energy, has aspects of the tiger as well, obviously being more of a lion energy in name. Leo DiCaprio is probably, like Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, one of the biggest blockbuster stars, or you could say last movie stars of all time as well, especially of this generation. So Leo DiCaprio was born in the Year of the Tiger as well. I believe he's a 7 life path, which we can go into further videos. But the other Year of the Tiger movie star we have is Tom Cruise. So again, go into this in your own research. Don't just take my word for it. There are patterns, recognitions, like attracts like. If you're a tiger, just so people who don't know, you probably will, some of you who are Chinese astrology nerds like me, is the tiger is friendly with the horse. I'm Year of the Horse, so I'm very deep into my trine. So trines are 3 or 4 signs. It's usually 3 signs that get on very well. So you have the dog, Year of the Dog, Steven Spielberg. You have Year of the Horse, Martin Scorsese, 2 of the best directors of all time. And then you have Year of the Tiger, people like Tom Cruise, Leo DiCaprio. And of course, you can go further into it with which element they are. For example, I'm 1991. I'm Year of the Metal Horse. So each element has a different sort of energy, a different theme with each year. This year, just for people who don't know, is Year of the Fire Horse, which is why we're getting all this revolutionary, warlike energy and intensity, especially in the Middle East, which I got caught up in Abu Dhabi. Story for another day. But me being Year of the Horse, you can see how I'm finally getting down to doing my podcast because I'm just so, I guess you could say, engrossed in writing scripts and acting and doing all that stuff. It's now my time to get further into trying to be a service to others, especially, but also freedom of expression in riding that horse wave into 2026. I'm also a 26 life path. So if you look at the 26 numbers at the end of 2026, there's a congruence there as well. So think of it as like a surfer catching a wave, but a big old wave, and you have a lot of momentum. So that's something to look at. Obviously, we're starting high level. This is episode 1. So Chinese astrology, for those that don't know, they're studying the harmonics of the world around them. So there's a lot of observational data, you could say, in studying, okay, you know, they used to say this in Asia and especially China, people born in the fire horse year, sometimes sadly they would try and take out, or people would try not to have babies in that year because it created a lot of revolutionists, right? People who wanted to overthrow governments, who wanted freedom. Think about studying the horse energy as well. Obviously, you can go into the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, the more sort of negative side and myth, but you can go to the other side, I guess, in archetypes, Black Beauty, Seabiscuit, you know, horses we see in films, War Horse, which is another war code as well for this year. So you can see how there are similarities there. But please do your own research, look at all of this stuff, look at the year people were born, their life paths. And for those who don't know how to calculate a life path, it's just, of course, the birth date, the month, and the year all added up. And look at it in its entirety. I'm February the 4th, 1991. So I got that Jupiter code with the 2-4, February 4th. And I'm life path 26. So I look a lot to people. Again, I don't try and reverse engineer some of these directors or actors. I just like to see, okay, what's worked for them? What's the pattern recognition that we're seeing? And how could that help me for my films? The value I'm trying to provide you for the films I want to release in cinemas or on streaming platforms, even music as well for all of you out there, or anything, posts on Instagram, social media, is looking at dates in your life. You can do this as a study. You can look at dates in your life that are huge positive events, and obviously the negative events too, life-changing events, and you just take notice. You might see a theme of numbers that recurs within there, specific dates, for example. So for me, I look at Martin Scorsese. I think he's the most nominated Academy Award director, or most nominated director for Academy Awards. I'll rephrase that. And he is Year of the Horse and a 26th life path. So I look at aspects of that and see, okay, there's an interesting thing there. There's James Cameron, who's one of my favorites, Die Hard for Terminator, Avatar. He's a genius. He is 7 life path, so he's very intellectual, very focused on data, creating things, just like Nikola Tesla, I believe, had the 7 and 11 energy. But James Cameron is a Year of the Horse as well. So there is some themes that we see here, but ask yourself, what does this all mean? Why does it matter? Well, for me, I'm tripling down on everything I'm doing. I've just launched, I won't go into it today, but not to make this about me, but just for people to get an understanding, trying to launch this podcast, do all these films that I have slated for my company, and scaling up with my producing partners with a large entertainment house and fund. So I'm really trying to triple down, if you will, into the Year of the Horse energy, which matches my energy as well. And yeah, you can go further into that with more details. There are a lot of channels out there that talk about the high level traits and aspects of 1 life path, 2 life path, all the way up to 33. Some of the master numbers like 11, 22, and 33, which we'll go into in future episodes. But for now, let's keep it at that. We look at some of the big players in Hollywood. I like to use different terms these days because I feel like we're migrating out of Hollywood with the streamer age and everything. We have Steven Spielberg, still one of the goats. Like, to use an expression, goat, which is of course an animal in the Chinese zodiac, like Denis Villeneuve, for example, who's one of the greatest, in my opinion, already of all time, just because I'm amazed by his work on Dune especially. So Denis Villeneuve is a Year of the Goat. You have Spielberg, Year of the Dog, Scorsese, James Cameron, Year of the Horse, and then you guys can look at other people too. Tom Cruise and Leo DiCaprio from the last movie stars, if you will, they are Year of the Tiger. And then you can look at the traits. Look at how tigers move in nature. They're very solitary creatures. They're fierce. They're real sprinters, if you will, like lions. You know, they go after their prey when they need it, but they're kind of conservative with their energy. And tigers age very well. So you can see people like Tom Cruise. I know people have ulterior theories about that, but you have Tom Cruise and Leo DiCaprio, of course. People say they age like a fine wine. Same applicable with ladies as well, female actresses. So hope that gives you an idea. what I would like to do in future episodes is go deeper and deeper into the initials numerology. For example, my name's Stuart Daly, so you look at the S and the D, or you can do your middle name too. For me, Stuart Michael Daly, SMD. And these initials are obviously, correlated with numerological values. SD reduces to 23. So 23 is used quite a lot in people who are actors, audience facing, teachers, all that stuff. And of course, we haven't touched on tropical astrology, sidereal astrology, which is even more accurate in my opinion. And the one I'm most, I guess you could say, enthusiastic about is the base 12 code, which I bet you haven't heard on many other podcasts, especially about numerology and gematria. Usually these podcasts, they focus on Pythagoras theorem, which is the base 10 code, which people will know, which has credence. But to me, that's the number of the matrix, the number of our Earth. But true creation goes into base 12 mathematics, which you'll see a lot of stuff coming out about. One of my teachers, I love to give a lot of homage to my teachers, is Lisa Renee. So Lisa Renee, incredible contactee, channeler, all the rest of it. She's someone I'll probably do a future episode in, but I learned a lot through Ascension Glossary, her website, and Energetic Synthesis. And she and Dr. Jerry Rivera de Henio, he is also a friend of mine, and we've collaborated on my documentaries, which will come out in the near future. But essentially is all about the base 12 code. So I'll leave that Easter egg. I'm not going to dive into that. But let's just look again to recap. Look at the most successful directors or the people in your field. It can be teachers, inventors, artists, musicians, whatever it is that inspires you. For me, this is a lot about inspiration. It's looking at inspiration of people that I don't want to say you look up to, but you have a lot of respect for their work. And also to look at, okay, what's their code, what's their makeup, but how do I release this amazing, art that I've spent years, months, decades trying to create, and finding the best release date for that as well, whether it's for films, songs, etc. So that's what I want to talk about today, guys. We're coming up to like 14 minutes here. So please comment on what your sign is, what your life path is, all that stuff. Hit me up with any questions. This is definitely something I put in. It's a bit of a cliche saying this, but from the bottom of my heart, I've put in 10,000 plus hours into numerology, gematria. So it's something I've applied to my films, as I mentioned, in my life, and to my detriment when I haven't listened to it as well. When you have those days when you forget to check in with what day energy it is and all that stuff. So we're going to try and make this as applicable and understandable for you as possible. But really it's just, I guess you could say, part memoir journal without sounding super poetic on what I'm doing my day to day. So thank you guys. Please like and subscribe for the Main Character Code podcast. I will be on other channels, but I'm focusing on YouTube right now, and really excited to take you on this journey and be of service and be of value for you guys going forward, because there's just so much going on in the world.